Imagine, if you will, you're a monster. Benign. Just a simple monster. On your own, away from everything, looking for inner peace. You're in a nearby forest, out for a morning stroll. It's a pleasant day, the best your village had in months. You find yourself bouncing with a pep in your step. Your guard's down in this peaceful forest, when, out from the corner of your eye, you see him. A man with skin as rough as rubber, brandished in both silver and red. His eyes are soulless, but shine with a bright, glittery gold. He holds his hand out, raising them high, able to pull down the sun if willing. He reels them in, clenching his outstretched hands into powerful, star-crushing fists.
"Into fight!"
He says with lips unmoving, hands pushing and grappling back and forth. You feel his fingers sink into your skin. Powerful arms made industrial by brute strength. Seconds turn into minutes, minutes into hours. What is this? Blood is running down your stomach. You've never seen so much of your own blood before. A spear as red as the crimson pouring out of you protrudes from your torso. Horror and shock fill you. Why has this happened? You're only looking for berries, food for your family. Was this meant to happen? Is your destiny death? These questions fill your mind as it goes blank. God is cruel. But I'm not, because I'd like to introduce you to the first ever figure in Evolution Toys' hero action figure line, Redman, a 1/12 Tokusatsu character not made by Bandai. Oh boy, that doesn't bode well, does it? Who is Redman, you ask? He's this man, you see, red man. He kind of just appears wherever a lonely monster might be and says,
"Into fight!"
Then he tussles hard with whatever reused Ultraman monster the producers could find. And he just murders it, like actually kills it like the psychopath murderer that he is. Then the episode just ends.
Repeat for 138 episodes.
The figure costs around $80, but close to $90 when shipped. I don't normally jump at figures priced that high, especially from an unknown party, but this was the first fully posable Redman. Man, let's see if Evolution Toys' first attempt at a Bandai level product is worth the price tag. No hyperbole, I think this should win the award for Best Box 2018. It's simple, but still retro. Even this tiny retro-looking Tsuburaya sticker ignites a not-so-hidden box-loving flame from within me. Everything from the fonts, colors, cut of the window, hardness of the drop shadows, it's all just so...
This goes on for another hour, let's just move on.
This box has an incredibly strong chemical adhesive smell. Pry the instructions out of the plastic sheet and use the eyeballs in your head to learn all about the figure, all of which I'll cover shortly. Here's the figure and everything it comes with. Extra hands, a second pair of antennas, and his signature weapons, red knife, red arrow, and
Red Dragon!
Taking a closer look at his hands, we get fists, round hold gripping hands to hold red arrow, box hold gripping hands for red knife, karate chopping hands, open reaching out hands, and a gripping hand that can double as a thumbs up hand. It's a solid set of hands that allow for a wide range of expressions for Redman, helpful for a man with only one facial expression. Closer inspection shows just how soft the sculpt is. Is it the sculpt itself or the globs of paint? They swap with these, thank God. Redman comes with an extra set of antenna, but unlike Mask Rider 1, these antennas are different. They're also not on spurs, but that's not the big takeaway. They may look identical, but these antennas are made out of a different material. The set already attached is made out of PVC plastic, meaning it's soft and pliable, while the other set, the one made out of ABS plastic, is rigid and stiff. Thanks, Evolution Toy. I didn't ask for it, but I'm sure someone out there did. Now to his signature weapons, and I'm not talking about his fists. First up is his red knife, which looks more like a red machete if you ask me. The paint isn't the cleanest, neither is the sculpt. Sadly, this is something that'll apply to the rest of the figure. It's even got a very light slime to it. Such a slippery silver surface. Literally feels like my fingers are just sweating and slicking up the longer I hold them. It's not just the studio lights either. The same thing happened to my fingies when I first played with them at school.
You bring your toys to school?
Get out of here! As for his red arrow, it's much of the same. This side showcases some rough mold lines, and the area where the red plastic and silver paint meet has some subtle bleeding. Sadly, I think we can already guesstimate as to the level of quality the figure itself might have. Speaking of which, here he is, the magically murderous mental madman himself. Despite having most of the same problems his weapons had, Redman is still a solid adaptation in figure form, both proportionally and in sculpt. Yes, I know the execution isn't the best, but the sculpt alone has details that are reminiscent of the suit-accurate characters Bandai has been spitting out. Ooh, I love all this attention to detail. Stuff like the floppy boots, eye holes, and bulging zipper at the back, just to name a few. But is it nice enough to save the figure from the, so far, shoddy, definitely third-party execution? Well, let's see what the articulation is like. Redman's head swivels in a full 360, same with his antenna. Base of his neck is on a ball joint, making it the main point of head tilting in any direction. His shoulders have a lot of moving parts. Way more than they needed. In fact, the left arm falls apart so easily that it's so freaking frustrating. This QC issue isn't even rare. I've seen it in plenty of other reviews, and it's specifically just this arm. Why is this bicep part a separate piece? What's the point? It's completely unnecessary. Then there's this incredibly short triangular peg that connects the shoulder to the arm. It was short enough already, but now you make it have less surface area too? Why did you do this to me, Evolution Toy? Did you model the ends of the peg after mouse nipples? Why? All these parts make Redman's articulation troublesome when swiveling and rotating the arms. Inside the shoulder is a butterfly joint, but it's only present on the right side of my figure and not on the troublesome side. His elbows have a good curl, very deep. Wrists can swivel all the way and have another deep hinge. As for his torso, we come across more problems. The ball joint of his chest and hips give you some movement, but overall it's non-existent. It feels more like a loose connection than it does articulation. Worst of all, I twisted his chest just a little too much, and the seam split on the left side, and the bottom peg broke. I had to crack open the other side, essentially breaking the other side, and apply super glue with a toothpick to where the peg snapped. Thankfully, my repair was seamless, but for anyone that wants to get this figure, beware. Bandai, this is not. Though that's kind of been clear ever since it got to the hands. Hips are also wonky. Evolution Toys decided to give Redman some very dated hips. They're on hinges that can drop down and give you more range. Pair that up with ball joints and a swivel, you've got yourself a good assortment that has a sufficient amount of range. But the shape of the cut here is just so awkward. And you know what? The knees are awkward too. You bend the back and bam! 90-degree bend. How depressing! This is due to the shape of the joint and cuts in the sculpts. They're just not right for each other. One of these parts needed to be cut or shaped differently. At the feet, we've got swivel and hinges at the ankles, all with a substantial amount of range in all fronts. Just look at that toe hinge. Clearly, there were some odd design choices at play here. Maybe an issue between patents as opposed to an inexperienced designer. There was an effort made here, I can really feel it, but the execution was just fumbled. Dear Evolution Toy, you guys made a Redman figure. But you didn't do too good. While I was posing for the conclusion shots, I felt like other parts of the figure were just gonna snap off. The hollow feel of the figure became more prevalent the longer I spent time with it. I know this is your first hero action figure Evolution Toy, it just sucks that it shows. Maybe your upcoming figures will be better. I don't know, I'm not getting them, but someone's going to. Either way, Redman is too expensive for what he is. Pray that either Evolution Toy gets better at this action figure thing or that maybe Bandai will get the rights. That's what I want. Thanks for watching, see you next time.